Well, we're in the beginning of a 10-day road trip in Minnesota with Lucy here, and we are just kicking things off. We have
Yes.
4 different cities, 4 gigs, 4 hotels.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, in general, she's been on 26 flights, which surprises a lot of people when we tell them that, but frankly, it kind of surprises us as well. It's hard to believe
Time
that it's
goes
been that many.
fast. Yeah.
But a lot of people, when they hear that, they say, well, how do you do that? I could never travel with my kids. It's just so stressful, so many things to think about and worry about. How do you do it? And although we're certainly not experts by any means, travel experts, I mean, we only have
No.
one kid, and we've only been at this for a little while, but we have picked up a few things that have helped make things go fairly smoothly for us and
Mm-hmm.
keep us pretty sane. So the first tip would probably be to, maybe this seems obvious, but be flexible.
Yes, especially on the road. You never know when you're going to be able to stop for lunch or what's happening in terms of, we're incorporating work into our travels. So you have expectations where you need to be somewhere at a certain time, which changes dinner time and possibly naps. And it's just, you got to be able to let go of your home routine and say, we're on the road. This is what it looks like, and if she has a meltdown, then we deal with it, and that's how it goes.
Yeah,
So,
because sometimes, babies have a very specific routine at home, and you assume that that will transfer. It doesn't always, especially if you're crossing time zones,
right.
things like that. So it's best to just kind of let yourself be open to the idea that it's not going to go exactly how you think, which,
And sometimes there's cleanup involved,
yes,
which
and
is
that,
okay too,
that kind of goes into our second tip,
Yeah.
which is lower expectations.
Yes.
When Kim and I were first doing this together without Lucy before she was born, we would be able to cover a lot of ground in the course of a day. We'd be able to accomplish a lot of things. We could see a lot of things.
Get a lot of work done in the hotel room.
Yeah, get a lot more work done. Yeah.
But now, I mean, we just take things one day at a time and say, okay, what do we think we can get done today? If it didn't, you have to let it go, which a lot has to do with our attitude. That's kind of what we say with almost everything, is being able to say, okay, well, we're going to roll with the punches and just be happy with what happened.
And frankly, when it's a travel day, we literally say our job today is to get from point A to point B.
Safely.
Where before we would try to say, and get this done, and get this
Write a
done.
blog,
And it's literally just travel today. And then, we might have a gig, and that day, that's what we have to do that day, is have a gig. And it just makes everything else kind of open up,
Yeah.
and you're not as stressed because you don't have all these expectations of what you need to get done.
Right. And the third tip is to maintain perspective. And this kind of goes along with what we were just saying, is being able to let things go is a lot easier when you can just look at what's really important. We're in Rochester, Minnesota, which is home to the very famous Mayo Clinic. And so anyone who's in the Midwest, or maybe even nationally, knows that this is a very important place for a lot of people who are trying to improve their health, because they're probably going through cancer or some type of disease. And so, the hotels are filled with family members who are visiting their loved ones. And at breakfast, I happened to be talking with this guy who said his wife is battling stage 3 cancer right now. He's been staying at this hotel for almost a month. And they're hoping to be able to get home to their other hospital, their local hospital, very soon. Anything that I was worrying about today was immediately put in perspective of my life is so blessed to not be dealing with something so tragic. So that's something else when you're feeling stressed because you have kids and it's just a lot to balance, to think, we're all healthy and this is where we're at, is quite a blessing.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is just to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes and realize that in a lot of cases you don't have it nearly as bad as you think. And when you see that guy like we saw today at breakfast that realizes that a meltdown here or a diaper blowout there is really not that much to deal with when it all comes down to it. So those 3 tips have kind of helped us so far. Maybe you can apply them in your life if you have kids, or even if you don't, just in general. Be flexible, lower your expectations, and maintain perspective.